Okay.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Sip Something Sunday, and this will actually be our first video episode.
Okay.
And I am here with my guest, who is also my god sister. I've known her since she was, I think, 5 years old, is what we figured out the other day.
Hmm.
And so, if we are not doing a whole lot of question and answer, it's because of the gazillion years of a relationship. So our apologies in advance. But welcome, Miss Kasha Lassien Ball, makeup guru extraordinaire. And we have verified that that is a fact.
Thank you. You look so good, Nika.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I can't
Good.
see. As you know, I'm vain and I took my glasses off. Um,
Hmm.
but thank you. I have
Oh,
no makeup on.
that's right. That's natural beauty right there.
How
Hmm.
did I clock it?
Clock it.
So, let's get right into it.
Okay, let's.
Tell us the story of how you got into makeup. Because I think I know. Want me to tell you what I know and then you can fill in the gaps?
Sure.
Okay. You were at McNeese
Okay.
and you got a job at the Mac counter. And I honestly do not know if there was an interest in makeup before that, but I remember you getting the job at the Mac counter. And then I remember you literally walking into Walmart looking like a monster. They didn't happen. It wasn't like one day to the next day, but I just remember your interest growing in makeup. And then um, you walked into like you would make up your face and other people's faces and walk into makeup like when I say looking like a monster, I mean you would do like monster makeup from like a movie set. And then I remember you deciding with one class left
Hmm.
that you were moving to LA and going to pursue a degree in makeup artistry.
Hmm.
Um, and then I remember the conversation of my opinion, even though it was just really like a confirmation, not really a do or die but my the conversation about, hey, should we do this? And my answer, of course, was yes. And then you're like, yeah, because we're about to go. Um, and then you and Jay moved to LA.
Hmm.
And it's been like, it has not been all sunflowers and rainbows, of course.
Right.
However, it has been, while ups and downs, I feel like you've grown a lot. You've been able to accomplish a lot.
Hmm.
So, so now give me that was my Cliff Notes version.
Your Cliff Notes version is good. Your Cliff Notes version is good. So I grew up, I think that my interest in art started earlier on. So I grew up always kind of gravitating towards there. I sung growing up, then I played piano growing up, then I took guitar lessons growing up. I used to draw a lot. And then as I got older, I started painting. So I think that I was always kind of looking for the best medium to express myself. And
Okay.
so I'm so glad that I found makeup as a medium. But yeah, I was in college, but I was already having this art background. I was in college and going to school for psychology because I've always been interested in how the mind works. And while I was going to school, YouTube got popular. So I started watching a lot of YouTube tutorials there, and that kind of piqued my interest. And so from there, yes, I went to the Mac counter, got a job, and I started working at a local makeup studio in Lake Charles with
Okay.
a group of other artists, like in a suite there. And we all went to something called the makeup show. We all went to Dallas to the makeup convention. And I think when I went to the makeup show, that's what really kind of expanded my horizons of what careers were possible as a makeup artist. And there at the makeup show, they had a booth for a makeup school called Cinema Makeup School. I didn't even know makeup school was a thing. But they had a booth there for cinema makeup school and they were doing live demos of special effects makeup. And I just thought like, wow, that's so cool. Like they're literally building these creatures and monsters right here in front of me. And I think that is what really piqued my interest. So when I went home, I started practicing more with special effects. So yeah, I would get my homeboy, who's like a brother to me now, still, Des, and I would dress my face up in special effects. I would do slit throats on him or bullet wounds on him, and we'd go into Walmart and walk around in play with the customers inside of there, and we just got such a kick out of that. And I think that while I was interested in psychology, I think my heart has always just been in art.
Okay.
And so, yeah, while I was there and after I did that, I think that that's what led me to say, like, I'm going to go to a makeup school. But I wanted to finish my psychology degree first. That was the plan because I was, almost done with that. But yeah, that's what led me to say, I'm going to move to LA or New York, but I'm going to go to makeup school and I'm going to try this out and see how far I can get with this.
I think God decided for it to be LA because if it was New York, you and Jay would probably have a squatter on your sofa.
Because you love New York so much, right? Yeah, I think I went to New York. Me and my sister went and we visited, and then we came to LA and visited. And I love New York. I love New York for the vibe of New York. I feel like New York is like such a place where I feel like my dreams come true so much there. And it's so like, you just feel like you're very much in the mix there. But New York is not the vibe for me for a regular everyday basis. LA is more like laid back, like everybody's high, like this is more like laid back vibes, like, hiking and the sun and, all these different things that I feel like fit more of my personality. And I think the slower pace of LA compared to New York feels very similar to Louisiana for me because, yeah, I'm a city girl now, but I feel like I'm a Louisiana girl at heart.
Yeah. City girls
Yeah.
up.
City girl up.
No,
City girl.
I get that because when I visited you guys, I feel like there was a lot for us to do, but it was also a very laid back type of trip. Whereas when either when I've been to New York with you or our moms, or even my mom when I go with the Golden Girls, as I call them, or
Mhm.
Glenn, I feel like it's on the go, on the go, on the go, on the go, on the go. So I
Right.
see how especially because we're from a small, what, two caution light town, maybe three. Um,
Right.
I can see how that could be a lot. You know what I mean? If that's really, and I feel like, and it could be different because I haven't spent a lot of time in LA. I feel like New York is probably a little bit more dog eat dog, um, type of atmosphere sometimes. So
Mhm.
I feel like LA allowed you to hone your skill maybe in a way that being in New York wouldn't have.
Yeah, I think also like I just feel like New York, I mean LA really kind of supports like my nervous system. Like it just feels more calmer. Whereas when I go to New York, I feel like it feels very abrasive. It feels very like get out there and get it, like very like hustle, hustle,
Yeah.
and I do like a hustle, but I like a little wind down with the thing.
Whenever we're in New York, it's so funny because, like, the cars, the horns are always blowing, and Glenn is
That's
every
right.
every single trip, every single time. He's like, I don't understand why their horns are blowing, and I'm like, same reason why last time, like it. And then he'll like we'll get in the Uber and he'll ask the Uber people, how do you drive here? I would
Right.
to drive here. So I get that. Like even though I love it, I don't think I would care. But I'm saying that now because I know that I can leave and go home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just a different vibe. I think it's different if you come from a small town like that. Yeah.
So what are you working on? What's happening? What's going on in Mrs. Ball's world?
What's going on in my world right now? What's going on in my world is I am working a lot, obviously, in my career. So I have a lot of like projects and things coming up that I'm super excited about. Just waiting for those to happen and then roll out. But I'm so excited. I get so excited about things. And then also, I'm still in school right now. So I'm getting my master's right now. So a lot of homework going into that. So I feel like that takes up the majority of my time, honestly. And I'm just figuring out how to balance between those things. And then also, I'm working on my own podcast right now. So we've shot all of our first season. We're just doing like the post on everything and trying to get that out as quickly, but also in a way that still feels like we're very proud of and feel like we put all of our efforts into.
Okay, and tell me a little
Um,
bit more about that podcast.
The podcast. So the podcast is all about intentional living. It's all about intentional living and how we can start to be more aware of our life and feel like we're active in our life versus just living on autopilot. How we can learn to make wiser choices and feel like we're living more aligned and living more aligned with the higher versions or the best versions of ourselves and maximizing on your potential. So that's really what the podcast is about. And we use a lot of our own life story and blend in some humor and some things maybe that's happening in pop culture as it relates to that. And yeah, and that's basically what our podcast is about. It's mostly just about intentional living, choosing to live intentional.
I
Yeah,
do know your co-host. So hopefully when you guys get closer to launch, I can have both of you back on.
that
Um,
would be great.
'Cause that would be a fun conversation, I feel like.
It
Uh,
would be fun. Yeah.
So talking about intentional living, I feel like you are very intentional. Um,
Mhm.
you probably will be like, not always, and none of us are always, but I feel like
Right.
your goal, which coming from where we come from, which is again a very small town, Louisiana, almost unheard of unless it's some type of national tragedy. Um, but I feel as if a lot of people that we grew up with, that we know that we're related to, their lives are just kind of what was expected of them and not really something that they um, created for themselves. So, um, what made you, or how did you decide to just kind of step out on faith and do what it is that you really wanted to do?
How did I decide to step out on faith and do the thing that I wanted to do? Well, I'll tell you, I think that a lot of my motivation, especially earlier on, was fear-based, but in a sense, the fear-based thoughts kind of worked for me because I've always been afraid of dying with my ideas or dying not living my life fulfilled or seeing it all the way through. So I think that and my passion for art or my passion for creativity or even the confidence that I had in myself of just like, I'm betting on myself, you know? I
Mhm.
think those things kind of blended together. And I think those things are what kind of made me be at a place where I was like, all right, I'm just going to take the leap. And what's the worst that can happen? I would always say, like, the worst that can happen is I'm gonna have to go back home. That's it. And then
Yeah,
I'll go home and I'll regroup and then I'll get out and I'll try something else again, you know? Yeah. So I think that those are, yeah, I think that's a lot of what allowed me to be able to take that risk. And I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad I did. I feel like when you take big risks that way, that you're able to really reap the reward, you know?
the
You're
bigger the
able to reap the
risk, the
reward.
bigger the reward. Yes, yes.
And I've never had a mindset of just being comfortable where I am.
Mhm.
I'm always like pushing for more, or pushing for the next thing. I'm quite ambitious, but I grew up like that. I feel like that was a mindset that was kind of implemented into me, as that all of my brothers and sisters are as well. So I think that I don't know. I guess gumbo,
Yeah,
all of that gumbo mixed together is what kind of pushed me into doing it.
nothing like a good gumbo.
Nothing like a gumbo, especially not my mama's.
Yes.
That's right.
Summon Sarah, please. Speaking speaking of your mom, I feel like she is um, one of those people that I've always looked to just kind of do what makes you happy type
Yeah.
of thing. You know what I mean? Like I'll be like, "What you doing today?" "Oh, girl, I'm signing these papers. I'm finna go back to school." Like, you know what I mean? Like there's like she's never okay with being like just settling. And so um she's one of she's not a yes man. Let me get that straight. But she's one of my yes men, if that makes any sense. Like
Okay.
she's one of the people that I know is gonna be like, girl, try it. You know what I mean? Like always. She's not one of those people who she doesn't play small and she doesn't want anyone else to play small either. So like she's the person you can come to her and be like, I know 2 + 2 is 4, but I'm not sure about what 4 + 4 is, but this is what I'm thinking. And she'd be like, girl, 4 + 4 is 8. So this is what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like she's gonna always push you to be better, be greater. So I mean, and she's always been like that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, she has. I think, yeah, you're right. In a lot of ways, my mom is like definitely an encourager. Like I can think of like being a child and no matter what I wanted to do, and my mom was a single mom for all intents and purposes, right? But no matter what I wanted to do, my mom would be like, okay, go do it. Like she'd pay for me to do the thing. If I wanted to take voice lessons, she'd pay for me to do voice lessons. If I wanted to play the guitar now, she'd pay for guitar. If I wanted to cheer and do competition cheer and do gymnastics or do whatever it was, she always would like pour into in that way, at least pay for me to go and do the thing and then allow me to kind of navigate the path from there. Also, when I look at my mom, she was always like a hard worker. My mom would work multiple jobs to make sure we had everything that we needed. I mean, like I didn't grow up super rich and I didn't grow up super poor either, but I never went without anything. I had everything I needed and beyond and what I wanted as well. And so my mom was like definitely a hard worker and she valued education and she valued like just going after not being comfortable and just being content, not settling with something, but going for pushing for the next thing. You know, my mom went to school, got her degree, went back, got her master's degree. I'm like, okay, mama, like, you know, she
Yes.
always kind of doing that. But in a lot of ways, I feel like a part of my passion to go after the things that I want is also from my watching my mom having to sacrifice so many of her dreams, you know, and put things to the side because I don't know, maybe my mom wanted to move to a different state or do other things like, but you know, she had her children, so she had to make sure it was taken care of or go and do this thing. But you know, I just feel like she had to sacrifice a lot as well. And I feel like her sacrifices, her sacrifices makes me feel more free to go out in the world and go get everything that's here for me and cycle back and get the things that my mama should have got as well, you know?
Hey, I like that.
It's so funny because I was talking to my grandmother the day my grandmother went to school for nursing and she went to McNeese. She was telling me, and she was telling me that in the time that she went, she was like one of the only Black women on campus. And she went back and she was older. She already had her kid, but she was saying like she just didn't really feel comfortable in the environment. You know, like they didn't treat her well, obviously being one of the only Black people in the South at that time going to college. And she was saying like that was one thing that she regretted is that she never went to finish her degree but she always like kind of instilled that into us, like go to school and be a nurse. And if you're a nurse, there's always going to be people dying or sick. So you're always going to have a job. That's what she would tell us all the time. So both of my sisters went to school for nursing. And when I was talking to her, she was telling me like, you know, I wish that I would have finished. And I was like, well, girl, guess what? Your two granddaughters went there and they finished for
Right.
you. They both
Yeah,
got
they
their
got
nursing
it
degree.
for
So
you.
it's full circle, girl. They got it for you, you know?
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
the person that's very, um, ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that might be because of, her feeling like she let things stop her. But I feel like her nursing calling was met in other ways. You know,
Yeah.
like she might not have had the degree, but there are other ways that I know of that she has helped the community and helped people. So, and that she may not have been able to do if she was a full-fledged nurse. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
if for
Hmm.
whatever reason it worked out, but she is another encourager. Like I like that word. She's another person that's like, oh yeah, so how you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you and I think that's a good idea. So that's yeah. You
Yeah. The only other part of that is, now I got it to the truth now, is that they are a little more practical. And so when I told my mom that I was moving to LA and I wanted to be a makeup artist, I think even though they were like, okay, go, my sisters, everyone, they were supportive of the idea. They were like, now how you gonna make money from this? Because they're all like, I feel like, and that's normal, right? Your parents are concerned about how you're gonna be able to take care of yourself. Because I think too, when I moved to LA, makeup artists weren't getting as much shine, I guess, as they're getting now, or there wasn't as much of a spotlight on glam teams. And obviously, like no one had done anything, I guess, in that realm of creativity. So they didn't think that it was possible for you to make like have lucrative pay and really sustain a fulfilling lifestyle on that. So I think they were a little bit like skeptical, you know? But I think that once I got to LA and I graduated from school and I was able to like start making money, my mom like now she's like, and my daughter is it, and my daughter does that. And like she's so proud.
She's always been proud of them, honestly. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because I remember whenever you first, worked with certain people, she'd call and be like, okay. I didn't tell you this, and you got to act like you didn't know. And I'd be like, okay, you know, and she'd be like, but Keisha gonna call you with some news. You know what I mean? I'd be like,
Mhm.
And then if the call ain't come fast enough, what you been up to? You know what I mean? So it's like she's always been very proud. She's never told anything that she 100% could not tell. You know what I mean? But I do,
Yeah,
but she would always like kind of give me the heads up that like good news was coming or something big was happening. You know what I mean?
right. But I think the success makes it different, right? Because I think when you're successful, then people start being like, "Oh yeah, and I knew
Yeah.
you was gonna do that, and you always was like this." Like, girl, please, you
No.
didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Right. Funny story. Somebody, and I'm not gonna say the who, the why, but somebody's like, "Do you think Keisha would?" I'm like, "What? Do you?" And I'm like, "Call her and ask her." Well, I don't
Would.
have her number. I'm like, "Well, then that's your answer, honey." Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't. How do I put this? I'm all for like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Big up into people. This is my cousin. This is my this. This is my that. But sometimes we'll get on the Glorilla subject when I say what I'm about to say. Sometimes
Okay.
we think that somebody else's success has to be our success, but not only that, but that we don't have to keep in contact with people, but yet we want what they've benefited from to benefit us in some way. Am I making sense?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Me, like so to me, like if you don't keep in constant enough contact with Keisha to be able to pick up the phone and be like, hey, could you do this? Don't ask me to do because that means you're not even saying like hello. You know what I mean? Like if you're not even saying hello to a person, that's just kind of rude to be like, hey, can you do this thing for me? You know what I
Right.
mean? So yeah. And I'm
Right.
definitely the one to ask. Um, thank you. But yeah, so speaking of people and feeling like everybody has to go along, no. Come on. Yeah, so I'm recording.
Who's that?
Keisha.
Hello, Kasha.
Can't see anything because you're. Hi,
Mhm.
Glenn.
What's up? How you doing?
You can't see him unless he's right there. It just still looks like the background.
Oh, damn, girl, you look
But
good.
I can't see that you're even on camera.
Can you see me now?
Now I can see you. Hey,
I was saying, damn, you look good.
Thank you.
don't she?
Yeah, man.
Oh.
Both of y'all a mess, but thank you,
I
thank you,
love when a woman is love proper.
thank you. He does.
Yeah.
He does a good job.
Mhm.
Um, y'all look, y'all done made me lose my train of thought. But so
We're blushing so much right now.
but Glorilla's sister, Scarface,
Perfect. Okay.
is apparently mad. Well, not is apparently. It's not apparent. She is mad. She had a whole, this is like a couple of weeks ago. She had all these lives about how Glorilla wasn't sharing the money, wasn't sharing the wealth.
Okay.
And then of course, social media and people had to chime in on um, whether or not Glorilla is right or wrong to and how much money she should give her family.
Hmm.
So what are your thoughts on that? Because my thought, like Lil Jeff always says that we can't win the lottery because I say I'm not going to give everybody money. Uh,
Okay. I'm legit. Same around you. Yeah.
I
Hmm.
mean, there will be people that will be perfectly fine, but I'm not just going to literally go down the list of family. First of all, our family is too big for that. So you might as well just say I didn't win if you're going to give everybody something. But I just feel um, like if I ended up with a $1 million brand deal today,
Hmm.
Lord, hear my prayer. But if but if I ended up with $1 million brand deal today, I don't feel like I should just break everyone off because I have $1 million brand deal.
You
Because
gonna be
that
broke. You broke break everybody else.
right, with that brand deal comes taxes, comes fees. You know what I mean? It's not like here's $1 million in cash to go do what you want to do with it. So I just feel like, especially, I feel like our people more than anybody, and when I say our people, I mean Black people, I feel like we feel the need to carry the family, the neighborhood, the whoever on our back,
Hmm.
as if our success, um, as if we owe everyone our success, the fruit of our labor. So,
Right.
what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, agree with a lot of the point that you made. I think it's that we should not feel entitled to other people's success. I also think that in a lot of ways, I do view my success or anyone else's in my family's success as the family success because it's still pushing the family forward. And the thing to me is like how to create generational wealth and how to sustain that wealth. So I like when anyone in my family or any of my friend circle, whatever, is doing something that's going to keep elevating or progressing the family, right? And giving you access to resources and opportunities and networking, whatever the case may be. But I don't think that that equates to feeling entitled to someone having to take care of you or give you money or make sure that you're financially stable. I fully believe in each individual's autonomy and your ability to go out in the world and to make your own dreams come true or make your own success for yourself, whatever that success may look like. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's unrealistic, like to think that someone should have to take care of you because you are, especially if you're able-bodied
Yeah.
and able mind, go out there and make sure that you can provide for yourself. They have that old saying where it's like if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for like a couple of days, something like that. You teach a man how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. So that's how I think about it. I'm the same even with the lotto thing. Like I'm not saying that I wouldn't give some people money, right? But that list is very short, very small. But what I would be more inclined to do is to give you money to support like a business. Like, do you have a business idea? Do you have some way that you want to keep this going or to keep investing in some way and keep making it make more money for yourself than to have someone be dependent on me or to keep looking at me every time that they need to pay something? I would not like that. And actually, that would be the quickest way for me to sever my relationship with someone.
So that the
I
money,
think that's huh?
that the money multiplies, not,
Yeah, make the money multiply.
yeah, yeah.
I
No,
want to make money while I'm sleeping. I want to make money while I'm on my yacht in the Mediterranean. Like
that's
I
what,
want money to
yes.
just be coming in. You know what I mean? Like if I'm the only person in the family or the only person that has the money and everyone's looking to you to give the money out, isn't you're not going to keep it very long, right?
No, I agree. I think so speaking, going back to Glorilla, but just in general, Glorilla's sister literally has her whole face. She's just like a stud. I don't know if she wants to be called a stud or whatever, but she's like she kind of looks like a boy, but she has Glorilla's whole face. And so one of the Facebook comedians was like, why are you not out there doing club appearances? You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's very true because in this day and age, you literally can get money from who, because and they're going to put it on the flyer. Glorilla's sister will be here for the weekend. You know what I mean? So it's like
Right.
you don't even have to have technically your own talent to get a hosting gig anymore. You just got to know somebody who knows somebody who know the right person, and you can be in clubs every weekend making 2,500 five grand a pop.
That's
But,
right. Or
but
hosting could be the talent.
right, no, I mean yeah.
Yeah, talents are different.
But to think you just gonna sit down and watch TV every day while she traveling the country, ain't getting no sleep, having to be here and having to be there, and she just supposed to give you money is bonkers to me.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Also,
Um,
I feel like you're not aware just because you see somebody living a certain lifestyle or putting something out, you're not aware of all the bills or the things that they have to pay. So they might have this much money coming in, but how much money do they have going out? Like, what's their
right.
overhead? If she has to pay managers or PR or, pay for her tours to look a certain way or whatever the case may be, pay the housekeeper, the this, the that, like, you know what I mean? You can't count other people's pockets that way and think that because they look like they're being successful, that automatically that means that they should make sure that you're living the same way. Like, nah, I just don't agree with that.
Yeah, no, it's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit much. It's a bit, that's selfish to me on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like so I want you to take care of me so I can live the Lux life while I do nothing and you go
Yeah.
for a blast. And I say that because like the company that I work for, I'm not going to say any names. I don't know if I need clearance or whatever. But the company that I work for was started by the founder. He passed away last year. But one thing I enjoy about it is the fact that all the kids work. All the kids work, have worked, will work with the company. Like they're not just sitting around watching TV. You know what I mean? Like, so I, um, so in my head, it's like that's how the rich continue to stay rich because of course you do have, do you know who my father is? You do have those people in every realm of the world, white, black, purple, and
Mhm.
green, who they do just live off the family's money. But there are also plenty of super wealthy families that require the children to punch a clock.
Right.
I mean, like, and I feel like that says a lot to the people who are watching in the sidelines, waiting on the person in your family to hit it big. That if the super rich are making their people punch a clock, then you need to, like, my conversation would be, listen, I'm not making no money. I'm not happy with what's going on in my life. I need to make this much money a month. What do I need to do for you? What can I
That's
do
what I,
for you so that
that's right.
I can earn that? Because on top of that, you also have to think about, because you've been on a world tour, you know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure you was by yourself as far as family is concerned. Um,
Hmm.
so imagine that life where, she's going from place to place to place to place to place. Yes, she has her dancers and she has this person and she has that person, but a lot of people don't always have everyone or someone that they grew up with, shared a room or bed with them, traveling with them. So with that said, look at her day to day and what does she need for her day to day and how can I help you with your day to day so that
That's right. I would then hit my sister up. Hey, can I be the road manager? Can I be the tour manager? Can I help with the bank? I mean, whatever the skill. Can I be the social media person? Maybe I can record, do all the tour backstage or something like that. Girl, you need your makeup done. Girl, you need your hair. I mean, I
right.
don't know.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, remember when you had that one big event, I'm not going to say what it is because I don't know if we could talk about it, but when you had that one big event, I was like, I'll sweep up the lashes. Like,
Oh yeah. Yes. That's
and
funny. Yeah.
I was dead serious. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't just say
I
it.
know you were. That's why that's funny. Like I
I,
can just bring you to work with me.
I didn't just say it to have, to have, but it's like, look, this the lash sweeper, like,
Right.
but it's like people don't, I mean, that's a little bit extreme to want to be the lash sweeper. However, that was the only service I could think of at that moment.
Right. Now you was trying to get in there. You were trying to get in there.
But it's like that's just the mindset people don't have. I feel like people are waiting on somebody to get on so that I can lay back and relax as opposed to I'm waiting, when she get on, we're going to do this because I'm going to help this, that, and the other. You know what I mean?
Right. And
Yeah.
I think I don't be knowing that much about like pop culture topics unless I hear it on the podcast that I like listening to. And then you're subjected to just what their opinion on the matter is. But from what I've heard, also I don't think that there is an amicable relationship between the two of them. So then that's like another aspect or another layer of the thing. You know what I mean? It's like,
Like we don't even like each other, but I'm
I
going
don't
to get
know.
money every day.
Right, yeah, yeah.
So what other podcasts do you listen to?
Okay. I love the Joe Budden podcast.
Okay, I have to listen.
Love that podcast. Yeah. I listen to that. That one comes out like 3 times a week. So I do listen to that one 3 times a week when I can. And
Okay.
then if I can't because I'm inundated in school right now or in work and all the things, then I'll go back and listen to it. But I also really like the Poor Minds podcast. I think I was telling you about that one
Yeah.
before. I really like that one. I also like, I used to watch Drink Champs a lot. Sometimes I'll stop in on what Fab and Mano and Jim and them are doing over there. I'll touch down, see what they got going on. Sometimes I listen to like Fat Joe and Kiss, see what they got going on. I like the hip hop podcasts a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I my favorite I think is Reasonably Shady with Giselle and Robin. Um,
Yeah.
and one of the reasons is because they're so blonde, man. Like they're really like they're just two people like that are friends that are just talking and like they have their shady moments and all that stuff. But they're just so like and that's probably not a nice thing to say, but they're so blonde, but like they're super smart but like when it just comes to random everyday things, um,
Mhm.
today's episode, which they usually record on, oh, today is Monday. It usually drops on Mondays. I usually listen on Tuesdays when I go to work because I'm off Mondays, but I listened today and they were talking about it being daylight savings time. And then they're like, do we go forward or do we go back? And they're both like, I don't know. I'm not sure. And
I've been confused about that too. I've been a little confused about that. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah.
it was really funny because like they were dead serious going back and forth. And then I got out of the car to get the dogs, I think. So I don't really remember what they settled on. But it's just like, random every day. And then of course they talk about different things in their lives. Um,
Yeah. The way I remember it is like spring forward. So the clock goes forward.
mhm,
Yeah. And
sports,
fall back.
yeah.
And the clock goes back. That's how I have to remember it.
Um, but today I also listened to um Tariq and Braden. I always call it boy, want to call him Braylon, but Tariq and Braden from Power.
Hmm.
They have a show called The Crew Has It. Their show is really good as well because they have like different actors and stuff on there. Um, and then I also listened to, which is I guess part of the Drink Champs world is Rock Solid with Meek. I always want to say
Memphis Bleak.
with Memphis Bleak.
Okay.
On today he had Fat Joe. And it's really funny because they both like are like great storytellers,
Uh-huh.
but they both
That
kind of
show
like
is. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
holler a little bit. So
Okay.
for I this that they were talking about I guess at some point, well, for many years, um Rockefeller and Terror Squad had beef.
Hmm.
Um Fat Joe said even to the point that if they ended up being in an elevator together, Jay-Z wouldn't even like speak to him.
Mm, okay.
And so then fast forward, some kind of things happened that kind of smoothed that over. And then, like he said, he was somewhere and he felt somebody like jump on his back and he was thinking he's got to turn around. It was like Jay-Z and he's like, yo, what's up? Da, 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 da. And then like it was just like the beef was squashed or
So they
whatever.
settled it. Yeah. Okay.
But it's so funny because they're both like, no, you know what I mean? Like with that New York, and
Very animated personalities. Yeah.
but it's I feel like Memphis Bleak is a very underrated storyteller. But I don't know if it's because I do, I'm a whole fan. I know that you are too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's just that he's telling stories that are so interesting to me, but he's so animated when he tells the story. And then like he's laughing. So it's like you want him to stop laughing so that you can get the
You
story.
hear the
If you
story?
start
Yeah.
laughing with him, and I'm like, I don't even know why I'm laughing, but it's funny. But yeah, so he's a very good storyteller. I look forward to where his little show, not little show. I always say everything little, but I don't mean it like that. But where his show is gonna go. I'm not the hater type. I'm from a place where we know a bunch of Lils. So Lil
Right.
is just a part of our vocabulary.
That's
Yeah.
right. I haven't listened to that podcast yet, but I feel like perhaps I'll check it out. I'll see.
Yeah.
I'll step in and see how I like it. Oh, there's this one other one. There's a girl. Her name is Jamie C. She used to be a hairstylist, and now she's like a entrepreneur, and she teaches a lot of classes and workshops about like female entrepreneurship. But her podcast, from what I've seen so far, is a lot about nervous system regulation and nervous and neuroscience information, and they integrate that a lot with like money
Okay.
and money management and being able and wealth container and holding on to wealth and
Mhm.
maximizing your potential, like all those kinds of things. And I really love listening to that one. I
Oh,
love that one. Yeah.
what's the name of that one?
It's called the Jamie C Show.
Okay. I'm writing it down. So I'm writing some of these down so I can, um, in addition to podcasts,
IMO too. Sorry, there's a lot.
I also
I
love,
said, yeah, I like to weave in different things. I like some just for entertainment and then some like for informational or educational. Like I go back and forth between what I like to listen to.
for a long time, I would listen to Kevin Hart's comedy show and then a couple, not comedy show, comedy channel. And then a couple of days a week, they would have like the podcast with, or the show, I guess now it probably would be considered a podcast with like him and Plastic Cup Boys. but
Okay.
I have not listened to them in a very long time. Um,
Yeah.
Sometimes the stuff they would say to each other, I'm like, how are y'all even friends? But a bunch of comedians just on a show to like it's literally like 2 hours of them talking trash,
Comedy.
mostly about Kevin though. Um,
Yeah.
but I also listen to audiobooks. And did you ever look into that one I told you about?
I didn't know. I've been running around since the last time I talked to you and still gonna run after I talk to you. I haven't no. But I haven't gotten into audiobooks that much. I like having physical books. Like I like being able to open the book. I like being able to highlight in the book. There's something about a turning a page that I really love. Like, yeah,
No,
I don't
I here's the thing. So Elin Harris, God rest his soul, is my absolute favorite author.
okay.
Um, his books are quite controversial, or they were. Now I feel like they would be received differently. But his first book that just started my journey into him is called Invisible Life. And it's about this guy, Raymond Winston Tyler Jr., who his senior year in college discovers that he's not straight.
Hmm.
And so the first book details that journey. And then all the other books are basically woven with same sex love, Black same sex love. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then if Raymond is not like the main character in the book, like he's gonna show up some kind of way. Raymond shows up often. Uh I don't some people say Basil, some people say Basil, but Basil Henderson, who's a football player, um, also shows up. But that was he even like I will reread all of his books. Like literally, I'll be walking by and I'll see it, I'll pick it up and I'll read it all over again. And on top of that, I've bought them and have them the ebooks as well.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but one of his books, for whatever reason, it came with the audio version, and I listened to it and I didn't like it. Um, and I think the reason why I didn't like it is because first of all, I'm 99.9% sure it's not him because he passed away before like audiobooks were a thing. So I'm sure it's just somebody reading. But it's also like, so there's a man talking, he's like, talking like a girl. I don't like that. So in that sense, I understand why you don't like audiobooks. However, um, Tina's book, Miss Tina, Mama Tina, her book, Matriarch, and Will Packer's book, Who Better Than You. Those are two books that I don't feel like reading them would give me the same feels that I
Yeah.
got. Because Mama Tina's book, you should read it by the way, because she hails from Louisiana. Not that's not the only reason why, but there's a bit of nostalgia there. But her storytelling and some of the things that she talks about, I don't know if I'd feel the same if I just read. Um,
Hmm.
and then Will Packer's book, Regina Hall narrates, and then he's telling stories about, his different exploits with different movies, different things happening. And when he's telling those stories, the people he's telling the story about are actually like voicing. So, like for Idris, he's telling the story about Idris Elba, and Idris actually speaks.
Yeah.
There's a couple stories about his
That's so
wife.
cool.
She speaks. Kevin Hart, of course, Carmelo Anthony. But it's just a really good book. But
That's such an innovative way to like have someone come in and do an audiobook and to keep the listener engaged. Like, yeah.
yes, but
Okay.
the title is Who Better Than You? The Art of Healthy Arrogance and Dreaming Big. And I just
That's
like that title. I was really just looking for something and I was like, oh, I gotta read this. Um, but for me, it's almost like a full circle. You better get off your ass and do it type of thing.
hmm.
Because the first movie he ever made was Chocolate City, and he made it in college. And he made it in college while he was at FAMU, and I was actually at Florida State. So I remember like the naysayers of the who do you think you are type of thing. And I'm not sure anybody ever said it to him. And then we also went to when I moved to, he's from St. Petersburg. So we actually went to high school in the same city and we know some of the same people. Um, but I remember when Chocolate City first premiered in Tallahassee, and I remember like people thinking it was funny. You know what I mean? Um, and so when he tells that story and just different stories, different things, and his challenges and his successes, um, it's one of those books that I don't care if you're 5 or 55 or 105, it'll inspire you to just kind of do whatever. You know what I mean? Like whatever you've been kind of sitting on and thinking, should I, you know, it'll put you in a mind frame of you better do it. If not, it's gonna be a bunch of shoulda, coulda, wouldas. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a really good book.
Okay. Okay. So it's like kind of like self-help wrapped in his own life story
Yes. Yes.
of it.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
That's
Okay.
that's a perfect,
I feel like I'll check that one out.
that's a perfect way to explain it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of Mama Tina, what you think about her and old Papa Matty?
Well, give them the backstory because actually I didn't know about this story either. I'm
Okay.
not I'm
So
not dialed into those things,
listen,
the
I'll
culture drama they were.
certain I'm not gonna lie, all things Beyonce pretty that's my algorithm. It's like that's where it is, to be honest.
My algorithm is literally self-help quotes, makeup, yeah. It's like that's literally if I show my explore page, that's all it is.
My
Self
mine is
makeup, fashion, that's it.
mine is self-help, entrepreneurial, and Beyonce. Like I feel like every so often another celebrity will like pop in there, but I probably see, yeah. And it wasn't always like that, but somewhere around Cowboy Carter is whenever I notice like that's like a lot. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Uh,
Okay, so you saw this news.
so
You
I
saw this story.
yes. So
Okay.
um basically Page Six got a hold of a clip that the original interviewer never aired. And in this clip, at the end of an interview, the person talks about the contributions of Matthew and Tina Knowles to Destiny's Child. And Matthew is kind of like, well, what did she do? And the person is kind of taken aback and he's like, well, he was like, she styled them. And he's like, yeah, she did that. And I'm not gonna lie, there was like another question, and Matthew was just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go. And the interview was over.
Hmm.
So then people started digging, and I guess the original interviewer and that station decided they were not going to air that part because the interview from January never aired that, but they had to bring it up since, somebody got a piece of it. Well, his excuse was that the interview started bad because the person was late. Um, but then to those who have went and found the interview and watched it, there was never any idea up until that point that there was an issue with the fact that he was late or whatever. So Matthew's camp's answer was, well, the interview started off bad, so that's why it ended bad.
Hmm.
And then Lauren LaRosa from the Breakfast Club interviewed the guy, and he's like, literally, there was no indication that there was any issue. She listened to the whole video and she had different clips. One of the good clips that he talked about was Survivor and how they would get letters from people about how that song basically saved them. Like one lady said she was in her tub about to end her life and she heard that song come on and she did not. And then whenever he battled with cancer, that was like his theme song. Um, and then he released a statement pretty much trying to make it seem as if the original outlet was making more of a big deal of it than what it really was, and it didn't happen in that context or whatever. But keep in mind, the original outlet is not who released the video. So there's that. But then Miss Tina pretty much clapped back on social media about people giving her just due. So I think personally, even if he felt like she didn't do anything, that was just a little rude. Because if nothing else, she did push the baby
Okay. I
out.
can't speak to whether it was rude or not because I don't know. You said it was a clip, right? But you said it was like a 40-minute interview.
For the 40-minute interview, they cut that part off.
Right.
But at the end of the interview, and I guess what ended the interview was the interviewer bringing up her contributions and him seeming to, and I will say that, Mr. Matthew, I will say you seemed to be aggravated by that. Um, but just watching it, what I did see, the way he said, "What did she do?" came across very, very dismissive.
But I think that sometimes if you only have a clip, it's hard to like respond to a clip because it's not enough information. So even maybe in the clip you would have come across dismissive, but maybe if you heard more of the interview, it would have painted a different story. You know what I mean? That's why sometimes like a clip, I don't run with what I heard on the clip. I like to go and see like the rest of the interview or hear the rest of the thing and hear it for myself if I am gonna like
Yeah.
comment on thing. But for based on what you said, I feel like I feel like in a lot of sense, like he did have a lot to do with their success of the group, right? Because there has to be somebody that is business minded and can push the creativity forward. So yeah, give him his props and his credit. And I also feel like the girls had a lot to do with their own success because they have to go out there and they have to work and they have to, be in front of the camera and the lights and keep up that those things, right? And have that work ethic to keep pushing that forward as well. So give the girls the credit. And then Miss Tina, I think, from my opinion, I think she also deserves a lot of credit as well because um, she was styling those outfits, but she was hand making those outfits, especially in a time where I read, I think, an article before where they were saying that a lot of designers didn't want to dress them because they were black and they were in this genre of being R&B and whatever the case was. But a lot of designers didn't want to dress them, which is why she even picked up the tools and started making clothes for them. And from what I can see, a lot of what powers celebrity is about what you're wearing and is about, how your hair is styled and how your makeup is. It's about crafting that image. So I think that the people that are a part of crafting that image plays a big part in how um, these artists or actors, actresses are able to go out and expand on their brands, how they're able to get a brand deal or get build their own lines, build a makeup line or build this line or whatever. So a lot of that does come from the image that's presented to the world. And then people go around and they say, like I was saying to you last time, like I want to wear my hair like Kelly's with the flips and the burgundy strips in my hair. I want to wear my hair like Beyonce with the tiny micro braids with always that blonde weaved in some kind of way or I want to wear my clothes like how Destiny's Child was wearing theirs. I have that creativity that, those things I think reflect then what you see the masses start to wear or what you start to see in clothing stores, what you start to see on shelves. So I think that your image is a big part of how you drive your career as an artist. You
Right.
know what I mean? But you need the business mind with that, and you need the work ethic with that, and you need that image crafted. You
Right.
need the 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 harmony of all of those things to go together.
Yeah.
So I would give Miss Tina credit for
Yeah.
sure. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it was a family effort. And then let's not forget, he quit his job to become their full-time manager, and she had that salon that helped, like helped take care of the family financially. So I don't know. There's a part of me that feels like it was just an off day. And I say that because even though, like I said, it did come across as dismissive, I just feel like he's never reacted that way before. You know what I mean? And we
I
all,
don't watch enough of him to know.
yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I know I said my algorithm is Beyonce. I know I said that, and this is probably gonna sound like a hater, but I'm just not that interested in his story.
Hmm.
Uh, if after you talk about what you created with Destiny's Child, and I know that sounds rude, um, but yeah,
I am. I watched the interview with him recently. He did an interview with Carlos King. I say recently, it could have been like a couple months ago or whatever. But I like his business acumen and I like a lot of how he tells his story about his life
Mhm.
and why he made the choices that he made, and talks about how he became successful as a businessman, and especially like being a black businessman, and at the time where it wasn't like so accepted. I like hearing those
Yeah.
stories. And so yeah.
Like I didn't know until recently that he went to the University of Chattanooga. I mean, University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. I'm sorry, I got it wrong, but I didn't know that until recently. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's not like, oh, he cheated on Beyonce mom. I mean, he ain't got nothing to do with me. But I feel like I've read a lot and I've heard a lot, so I'm just like really like not up until this point. I was really never like that interested to
Yeah, I
you know.
understand what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know.
I think my perspective on it is like, we don't know these people.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know these people, and I don't always trust like the things that I read. I trust more of like what I see or
Right.
experience, and I don't know those people, so I
Yeah.
don't have as strong as a perspective or viewpoint on it.
Speaking of not knowing those people and
Hmm.
looking at clips, I find myself, I don't do it as much anymore because he just works my nerves. But the Orangeman, there are times like when they'll have a clip and I'll listen to it because I'm like, ain't no way. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's
Hmm.
it. Hmm. You know,
Hmm.
um, so I do understand the need to want to watch the full clip because especially in the world of trying to decide who's going to make decisions for our lives, even though I don't feel that politicians are anybody's savior. um and I'll leave that where that is, but there are times with him I do, especially because I live where I live, I do find myself wanting to hear the actual thing that was said and not listen to just what the news cycle say they said, because I am just in so disbelief.
Right,
And
right,
I don't think that the sad part about it is I don't think they've been proven wrong one time, but
right.
he still has his legion of followers,
Yeah.
you know.
I think to wrap out that section, I think I would just say for myself, I don't typically go out looking for the things that are going on in someone else's. I don't pay that much attention to like celebrity news or
Hmm.
gossip or any of those things like that. But I think that there are some things where you need to be informed on, like you're saying, like politics or things that are happening in the world, Iran or, Venezuela, Mexico, wherever, Sudan, and those things I would say, do your due diligence, research it for yourself, because you're right. They don't always show things on the news, or they don't always present it as accurately as it is. So yeah, do your due diligence, read and research for yourself.
um I know you said you don't pay attention to celebrity, but I got one more for
I
you.
don't, unless it comes across on the podcast that I listen to, I really don't be knowing.
So I have two.
Okay. Or if it's a hip hop thing, then I kind of be knowing.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
one of them is not hip
Music
hop, but
thing.
I just want to know because Lil Duval, like a lot of times I find stuff because of stuff of people that I follow.
Mhm.
So like like I'll open up, and I have to get better about Instagram and all of that. But I opened up Instagram yesterday, and Lil Duval had a post that was like, I know she just didn't show a half a kilo of coke on live. And I was like, oh, who is he talking about? And I swiped Amy Luciani from Love and Hip Hop
Okay.
married Dwight Howard.
Okay.
Now, mind you, Dwight Howard is a basketball player. It's always been some stuff about him. Remember Royce Reed from Basketball Wives?
Okay.
You don't. I can tell by the way you said okay.
No, I do. Okay.
Okay. So her baby daddy.
Hmm.
So it's always some mess with him. Always a mess.
I know who Dwight Howard is.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I know Dwight Howard. I know who that is.
So Amy Luciani is who he's married to now, and this girl, swear to God, my apologies, no one offend anybody. So I swipe on Duval's post, and it's her crying on live, and she's like, "I am losing my husband to this," and she has her hand on there. It's like there's a white substance in her hand. I don't know what it is, and then she picks up and she shakes this thing, and it's a Ziploc bag full of white stuff. And I'm assuming again, drugs. And I'm just like, girl, I don't know if you should be doing that. And then I'm like, let me see what these comments say because Black folks in our comments never fail. So one person was like, the cops coming back. And then, but the funniest comment of all said, I have a question. Do they turn the camera on and then start crying? Or do they cry then turn the camera on? Because she is like snotting and going on and going on. But yeah, so that was that. I'm not asking for an opinion. I just thought that was hilarious that she put the
Yeah,
drugs
I don't have one. I don't have one. I didn't see the clip. I don't know the video. So I don't have one.
I didn't know, but yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's drugs. Um, but yeah, she put the drugs on the thing. She's, I'm losing my husband to this. And then, of course, then Royce made a video pretty much like, bitch, I told you, But yeah, so if you just go to Lil Duval page, the video up there. I'm pretty sure it might be on her page too, but yeah.
Hmm. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think like, I'm trying to think. You know what it is? I think that because there's a possibility that I will work with any of these people at any given time. I think that when I go into my job, I want to go in with like a clean
Your head,
slate,
yeah.
not going in with like preconceived notions or any like biases. I just want to be able to go in, provide a safe space, do my job, and get out. So I think that might be why I don't pay attention to it as much.
That makes sense. That
Yeah.
100% makes sense. That's why I'm also like being very careful with what I say because I also, heaven forbid, this episode blows up and
Are you being careful? Not that you need to be, but is this careful? This is the careful.
no, when I say being careful, like on my opinion, like you know what I mean? Like I'm not going
You
all
can have your opinion, have your opinion.
no, but still,
Yeah.
no, honey. If my opinion ever stopped anything for you, I would be very upset. I don't think God would allow that to happen. I'm gonna
Yeah.
start saying that.
No.
I don't want it. I don't even want to, you know what I mean? But now this other one that I know you know about, T.I. and 50, the whole Harris clan versus uh two quarters. What are your thoughts?
I do love music and I do love hip hop music, so I do keep a little pulse on that. Um, well, I think that I was gonna say when we talked about this before, I think that was thinking that I don't. Well, okay, hip hop beef, there kind of always is no rules or no line to the beef in general. For me personally, I think that you have to beef a little bit responsibly. So when you start bringing family into things, I think you start going beyond what the line is. Can I pause you 1 second? I'm sorry, Jalen keeps calling me, so I
Okay,
think
of course.
Jalen, Jalen, hey, what's going on? Sorry, I wasn't sure if it was gonna. It's good.
Okay, good. Um, you were talking about beefing responsibly.
Beef responsibly. I think dragging family into it is like kind of where you draw the line. I think when you think about the Drake and Kendrick beef, I think it got a little bit more nastier because they started bringing family into the mix of the things. I mean, it's definitely entertaining for us watching at home, right? But I don't know. I think that there's so many different ramifications of that thing. So you're shining a spotlight on someone's family member, especially if that person is not in the spotlight, you know? Yeah, you got to be a little bit careful about those things. I did like the song that Damani, his son, put out.
Mhm.
I thought that was like such an interesting approach.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
gave me very much like Meet the Grams, very like methodical, very much like break it down the character of the person. So I really like the song that he put out. Very well done for a young man.
I um I don't like the fact that he went at Tiny.
Yeah.
Because Tiny is so unproblematic. Like I know she's had beefs with her friends and her and a couple of her friends have fallen out. And unfortunately that's really just a part of life. It doesn't necessarily mean she did anything
No.
wrong.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Well, because sometimes you don't always agree. And some, especially to when I say a part of life, I feel like this is gonna sound ugly when I say this. Which I have said before, like everybody who came with you cannot always go with you.
Hmm.
And I feel like when you have a certain life and you're into certain things, as you start changing, not everybody is going to be happy with that change, whether
Hmm.
you're changing for the good or the bad. So that's why I say it's a part of life, because I feel like, there was the point when, her and Tip had certain allegations against them. And I think when those allegations hit is when you saw her kind of back away from the spotlight a little bit more. Um, and then I feel like that's when you saw, like, heard of like certain issues going on. Most of the people I'm friends with, I've been friends with my whole life. But I just feel like when you grow, when you have access to different things, it changes people. It may not just change you, but it also changes the people around you. So that's why I do believe that, like, that's just part of life. You know what I mean? People, um,
Yeah.
but
So
other
you didn't
than,
like her being brought up and
hmm,
the you didn't like her being brought up in the beef you're saying.
yeah, because I just feel like I feel like she's very unproblematic. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, like, I just feel like she's not always, like, she's had two falling outs that we know of. I mean, I don't, but in general, that whole little, her and Rashida, Toya, Candy, Monica, uh for the what's that girl who had the baby with Neo? They all seem to still be very tight. Um Again, she's, Shekinah, her and Shekinah had a falling out, which was very surprising. And then that other girl who was suing them, they had a falling out. But in general, her friends are pretty much ride or die. So, and she just doesn't seem like the type to bother people. So my thing is, if you're a man and you have a beef with a man, why not beef with that man? Why are you bringing up his wife?
Yeah,
Um, and
I agree. But he knows it's gonna rile you up. That's why
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
doing it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then somebody was like, well, Tupac brought up faith. And I'm like, okay, like, and that's one of my favorite lines of all time. But I was also a child. You know what I mean? Whenever that song came out, you're talking early 90s.
Or it
50.
was just wrong then too.
No, I didn't say it was right. I just said,
No, no,
like,
no. I know you're saying. I'm saying for the people who are saying like
yeah.
justifying it by saying like, well, Tupac brought up faith. It's like, well, it could have been wrong then too.
No, it was wrong. I mean, think about it. To this day, people still question whether or not that kid is Biggie's. You know what I mean? Which I think we've
Oh, were we? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, old people, not, but like,
Oh, okay. I didn't
yeah,
know.
old
I didn't know
people.
that was a
I mean,
question.
like, I don't, you know what I mean? But like, people be like,
Yeah.
that,
I didn't even know that was a thing in the zeitgeist. I'm saying.
oh, girl, yes.
I didn't know. I didn't know that.
So, Tupac said that he slept with her, and then Jay-Z and Biggie have a song, um, and it's called Brooklyn's Finest. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the song. But the line, Biggie says, if Faith has twins, she probably have two Pacs. Get it? Two Pacs. Like, that's literally a Biggie line. Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, that was a thing, whether or not she was
Little
pregnant.
double entendre.
Yeah, yeah. Whether she
Okay.
was pregnant and people, there are still people to this day, like, um, it's a couple of hip hop pages that I follow on Facebook, and anytime that era comes up, there are people in the comments still talking about that's Pac's son, and I'm like, I think she'd have told us by now. I mean, you know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
but it's not even our business. But you're correct, it was wrong. But you also saying, but the person who was saying it was in his early 20s, not saying it's okay, but your mind to me is different in your 20s than it is in your 50s. And I just feel like 50 Cent too old to act the way that he act.
Or not, because you know what I think too? I don't think that maturity sometimes is about age. Sometimes your mentality can still be stuck wherever it was, like very much in that fight or flight or survival mode. So I
Yeah.
don't think, you could be 60 still acting
I think he will be. Yeah.
way younger. Yeah.
He will be. Damani's song, Damani, he did say though that he did not consult T.I. first before putting it out because he knew that T.I. would think it was wrong. And T.I. has gone on record as saying that, they should have left his um, mom out of it. But today's children are just different. Um, and for me, I like the way the whole Harris clan is like, yeah, no, not today, buddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know,
I get it.
I like the fact that they're all ready to ride, especially considering that Damani and Messiah, that's not, that's her stepchildren. I mean, she's known them their whole lives, don't get me wrong, but that to me is I don't, I'm drawing a blank here. That's
So, like it's indicative of like the condition of their relationship,
yes,
kind of.
of who she is. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of
Yeah.
stepmamas around here. You know, you'd be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? They ain't my mama. You know what I mean? But they're like, no, you ain't talking about, you know what I mean? Like the fact that they are ready to ride now, Lil King, he ain't let up yet.
Mhm.
He's
I
steady.
I I don't I understand why they would want to jump in defense of her. I think I wish that it was just between T.I. and 50 though.
Yeah.
Like I think I wish that beef just stayed in between them because I don't like when the women are involved or the kids are involved. I don't know. I just think it does too much extra. Just leave it. Let them two go back and forth.
Yeah. No, that's what I say. But I think I'm thinking in terms of children, and I'm thinking in terms of like people we know and their attitudes. You know, there are some people who be like, okay, he said what he had to say, now that's enough. But then there will be people like, he ain't go hard enough. So, let me go do it. And I think that's pretty much where it is. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you wasn't hard enough against this ninja than talking about my mama. But I know 50's brand is mess and trolling. But I'm waiting on somebody. He always want to do a tell all on somebody else's business. I'm waiting on somebody to tell his business, because he got some little dirt too.
I think a lot of people do.
We all do. But when I
I think
no,
a
but when
lot
I
of
say
people
dirt,
do.
I mean the same dirt
I
that
know what you mean.
I mean, he the same dirt you accuse other people of, you've been in that same dirt. So tell
Yeah.
you, tell you,
My other thing, my last thing about this is that I think that to me it seems like it could go outside of just the bounds of music. And I know that we're entertained by those things, but I almost wish that it would stop now because I wouldn't want it to go beyond the bounds of music, because
with
it seems like there's a real
problem. Yes.
yeah problem, like a real aggression there. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
based on the songs.
With Kendrick and Drake, I honestly did not feel that way.
I
Um,
kind of I got a little nervous.
oh, I'm not even gonna tell you why because you might have to work with that man one day, and so I don't want it to be this clip to be the reason why. I'll tell you why off the screen.
Mhm.
Um, but with this one, I do feel it's a bit much, and I feel like it's gonna get worse before it gets better. You know,
I think it's about time to wrap it up.
yeah, yeah. I don't, and not, like, and I don't, I don't think 50 like I don't think there's a not like us for 50. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean that him saying it. I mean, I don't think there's a song that will make him bow out because that's just not who that's just not who he is. He could surprise
Yeah,
us.
like, when you got beef
Yeah.
forever.
Forever.
Yeah, forever.
All right, Cardi. Yeah.
Yeah.
I, now Cardi's glow up is like I appreciate it. I know that there are people that just don't like her, and I know there are people who the other day when they were talking about her hair, somebody in the comments was like, "She not even black," and I'm like, "Do you have any idea what Afro Latina is?" No, okay, and I'm not going to educate you today because I have better stuff to do with my time. But
Mhm.
thinking about her being on Love and Hip Hop, uh, to now is just to me it's like it makes my heart smile, just watching her and seeing her have all the things. She can't pick a man worth a damn, but who can? You got a good man.
My intrusive thoughts, but you were my intrusive thoughts.
Saw your face. I saw your face, don't I?
Oh, Lord.
But you know what I mean? Like, but I mean, we've all been there. We listen, if we were all judged by the men that we pick, honey, some of us would be nowhere in life. So I don't mean it like that, but it is what it is.
I'd love to see anybody's like come up story. I don't know. I get super inspired by that. It's also a reason why I like to watch like interviews or I like to watch like or read autobiographies or anything like that. Like I love hearing people's stories and hearing how they made a success of whatever their life was. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I love that Cardi had her glow up moment and that she's still having her glow up moment. And I love anybody else that's out there glowing up as well.
Yes, yes.
I really love that kind of stuff.
Before we wrap up, I have a couple things I want to ask you.
Okay.
So I've decided that the title of this episode will be It's More Than Makeup.
Okay.
When I
It's
say
more.
those words, what does that, when I say those words, what does that do to you?
What does that do to me? It's more than makeup. What does this more than makeup do to me? What does it make me think about? Well, it makes me think about like the internal aspect of things. It makes me think about so many different things that are just coming into my mind. So I'll just say it. It makes me think about like how we find happiness for ourselves, how we're taking care of our bodies on the inside, how we're taking care of our mental health, how we can use our beauty routines or use beauty tools to help regulate us, what regulating us does for us, how it allows us to show up more fully of ourselves in the world, it improves your confidence. Maybe that dream that you had that you were feeling that was impossible for you to do or having self-doubts about, like regulating yourself helps you to be able to step into that more fully, more confident, less with imposter syndrome. You know what I mean? So I don't know. When I think about it's more than makeup, I think about the things that are beneath the surface. And there's so many things that are beneath the surface. And my my mission right now well, I say my mission, my passion, maybe that's the better word. My passion right now is just for myself, indulging more into self-care, indulging more to self-love. And then when I'm working with other people, that's what I want for other people as well. I want that for the world. I think that when you are able to show up more compassionately towards yourself and the way that you talk to yourself, the way that you see yourself when you look in the mirror, or however you feel about yourself, I think that you're able to, it's like a ripple effect. It's like it shows up in the way that you talk to and treat to and hold space and are compassionate for, empathetic for other people as well. So I just feel like it makes us more kinder human beings. And when you look at the world right now, I feel like we could definitely use more
Oh,
kindness
definitely.
and more love. Yeah.
What does success look like for you? When you, um, a lot of times when you ask a person, like, how do you know you made it? When you not talk to, but when you listen to certain podcasts, like S- Joe and Memphis Bleak today, they were talking about, Jay-Z and Memphis Bleak, and they're all from the projects. Uh,
Hmm.
well, Jay-Z and Memphis Bleak are from the same projects, Marcy, but um, Joe is from another Fat Joe's from another project, but he said, like the same architect built them all, which I mean, in New Orleans, New York, all the projects look the same. But they were talking about being from the projects, and now Jay-Z is worth $1 billion, and they were laughing, hysterically laughing over if they had the $1 billion, what they would be like. And they were saying how, Jay-Z is a special human, like because he's um like he helps the community and all that stuff, but he doesn't like overdo it. So Fat Joe was saying if he had $1 billion, like he would go crazy. Like I'd be like, I need one of it. Like, he said he would just be out there over the top. I got a billion. Like it is what it is. But, they were saying, Jay-Z is not like that. He's very disciplined. Um, but I feel like when you listen to podcasts with somebody who's like up and coming, um, there's always a story of how did you know you made it. So I don't want to know how did you know you make it. I want to know, like, when it's all said and done, how will you know that you've been a success?
I feel like I honestly feel like I don't need to wait till it's all said and done for myself to feel like it's been a success because I already feel like that to me, because I have so much love around me. I have my family, all my brothers and sisters, all my nieces and nephews, my friends, my man. Like I have my family, and I have my career that's flourishing. I have my own sense of identity, a sense of purpose. I feel passionate. I feel excited about life. I feel like if I feel at peace, like when I feel at peace, inside of myself, I feel centered. I feel like I'm settled into myself. I have that. Um, what else am I thinking? Like freedom. Freedom is like one of my highest values. Freedom to be able to pick up and go to Japan tomorrow if I want to. Freedom to work a couple days a month if I want to, or work more if I want to. Like I think to me, I already feel successful in all those ways. My life feels very full. I feel very balanced. I don't know, I just feel excited about things in so many ways. So when it's all said and done, I think right now for me, what's important is leaving a legacy behind. So I've been thinking a lot about like what legacy am I leaving behind and what does that mean to me and what does that look like and how do I go about in the world and continue to build and expand upon that legacy now. So I think that with my career, thank you God, I've been had so much success in my career, even through the ups and downs. But I think for me right now, going back to school is a big part of that legacy. Um, and finding ways to continue to integrate beauty and mental health and expand on that. And like I said, just to keep promoting self-love and self-care and make some time for yourself, girl. You deserve like all those things. I think like that's what my legacy I think I would want to be.
Yeah. I said this before when we were talking, but I want to say this again. I do want to thank you not just for coming on my show, um, my podcast. What is it? Show, podcast, whatever. Um,
Whichever you want. Podcast show.
I just want to thank you for being like one of my biggest cheerleaders. Um, because I don't care what I come up with, you'd be like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? I like that. And you are very encouraging. And I know you're like that for everybody, but for a person who did not like my sisters are cousins, god sisters. I mean, I have stepsisters, but we didn't grow up in a house together. You know, we didn't grow up together. So I mean, I know that's who they are, and I hope no one hears this and gets offended, but I don't have a sister relationship with my sisters. So that sister relationship comes from you and your sisters, my cousins. You know what I mean? That's where I get those feels from. So I do thank you for being another one of my sounding boards and yes men because you know you're always so positive. You're like the biggest and not just for me but for others, but this is about me right now. So I do thank you for being like one of the biggest cheerleaders I have in my corner. So
Yeah, you're welcome. Of course you are. You know, it's so interesting when you say that we're like sisters to you, well, especially where you and I are concerned. It's like, in a lot of ways, I feel like we're still getting to know each other.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like we've always, like you said, you've been knowing me since I was 5, but
But
kind of like from afar.
I think it's like the age gap.
Yeah, the
You know,
age gap. And also, you didn't live in Cameron a lot, right?
whenever you
And I lived in Shreveport.
by the time you came, I was gone because I had left. I was living other places. Um,
Mhm.
and then, you moved, then when I did move back, the hurricane happened. So then you left.
That's right.
And then I think, oh no, and then like, but for like Mercedes, for sure, because Kiara said in a heartbeat, Mercedes. Like whenever I'll say, like, if I say that, no, Mercedes. But
I
Mercedes,
think you and Mercedes had a relationship.
you know, like Mercedes and I lived pretty much next door to each other
Yeah.
within like for what 2 3 years straight. So that's really like y'all were still, you know, little. But yeah, so that's where that I think that came from. And then your mom is all like I've always called your mom Aunt Natalie, even though she's not that much older than me. But she
Mhm.
like, you know, her and my
Or
mom,
that she's not your aunt, really.
right? No, like she's,
Yeah.
you know, but you know, but I always call her that. But that's just where I get those feels from, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like um, people that even if you don't agree, you can tell me no, and but not in a condescending bitch please type of conversation, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's what our interactions are positive and thoughtful. You know what I mean? Like whenever I went and visited you guys, like it was a very thoughtful, you know, it was just nothing like it wasn't. I don't want to say this without sounding like I'm being rude, but it wasn't like theatrics, but our interactions were thoughtful. You know, like just little stuff that we did, and oh, let me show you this. Let me, you know, that type of stuff. You know?
Yeah. 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 I feel like you and I feel like started kind of developing more of our relationship after the trip to New York. No, the first trip to New
Yeah,
York.
yeah.
Yeah. I
I
feel like
think
started.
I think before that, it was just like, hey, 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 hey. You know what I mean? But after, yeah. Hmm.
And after then, like we just kind of keep in touch,
No, no,
kind
no.
of tango a little
I
bit.
would say our adult relationship. Because when you,
Our
yeah, because when you were a kid and y'all moved and you would come back, y'all would stay at my house. That's how I found out you were
I know, but even when we stayed at your house as kids, it's like I would be
with the kid.
with
No, I
Jalen.
know what, yes.
Yeah,
No,
I'd
no,
be
I
with
know.
Jalen. So it's like, and you'd be with your friends drinking y'all box Zinfandel, hanging out. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? So
you
we're
know,
always just like,
yes
kind of
and
on
no.
the outskirts, kind
Yeah,
of,
right, right. Yeah, it was more like a
like you see them, like, hey,
yeah, like yeah. That's how I found out that you were allergic to shellfish because I was
Mhm.
gonna make something one day and you were like, I can't have that. And I was like, why? And yeah, that was like that was a fun time.
That's a fun time. That's not a fun time.
I mean, was it? But I mean, like, no, because you know, you come home and you feel like you're gonna make something, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. It's like, oh, that's not gonna work. So no, but yeah.
I almost feel like if we really girls like you say we is, then stop eating the shellfish. Stand 10 toes. Stand 10 toes on that. Don't eat the shellfish because I can't eat the shellfish, you know? Make shellfish your op because it's my op.
You don't remember this, but there was a time when you would take Benadryl.
I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding.
No, but I'm saying because I don't think you were always allergic to them.
No, I wasn't always allergic. I didn't find out I was allergic till I was like much older.
Yeah, and I remember one time you're like, I'm gonna just take some Benadryl, and I was like,
Yeah, I don't, you always say that, and I really don't remember. I had to ask my sister, like, is this true? Did that happen? And my sister's like, yeah, I do remember this time where you done that. Because I've been so careful about that allergy for so long, that I don't even eat fish because of it,
listen, I
I
was gonna
stay
say,
away from it all.
faux. If, it depends on who you ask. Some people say faux, some people say pho. I think it's pho. Pho is your op, and I don't eat it
Don't
around.
don't eat pho.
I
Don't
don't, I
eat
don't eat it around you. I do not eat it like I
pho.
already know. Like when I'm thinking of all the things I'm gonna eat whenever we get together, I already know that's not on the list.
That's so funny. Don't do it when you just with me though. Do it when even my back turned to the situation.
Baby, listen, there's a place in Knoxville called
You
Steak.
would be the only one to honor that. Cause like literally I'll talk to my sister and them and they'll be like, oh, we got some crawfish over here. I'm like, I thought you was. She's like, girl, I'm eating the tail right now. Girl, it's so good. I'm dipping it right now. Like they don't care, girl.
But yeah, I do. I'm trying to remember what was it for. But we were boiling crawfish and we were like, dang, we got to figure out what Keisha
It
gonna
was
eat.
something at a park.
And you were like, I'm gonna pop a Benadryl. And I was like, what? But you were dead serious, and that's what you did. I'm gonna tell you when it maybe it was the London's christening, maybe. Because I was at a park.
I remember one time being around you guys with crawfish, and it was something at a park, like at an outside area at a park. Now I don't know what it was, and I don't know if it was London's christening because I just don't feel like I would have had. I don't know if I've ever been a part of anything for London in that way, that
Yeah.
intimate way.
But I feel like your mom, because that was definitely at a park. I don't
You
know.
should.
We'll be blowing
Yeah,
our mind trying to figure it all out.
yeah, it's too long ago for me now.
Um, I think
What you got on there?
I'm trying. I know that's what I'm looking, and I can't see it.
Mhm.
We talked about it on digital
What
living.
does success look like for you?
For me, um, success looks like I'm not even gonna say not having to punch a clock. I know that you laugh when I say this, but it like I don't see myself I could just because I enjoy what I do, um, for the most part. So I'm not even gonna say punching a clock, not punching a clock. I'm gonna say being able to get up and go wherever I want to go because I love to travel.
Mhm.
And so for me, I'm not even gonna say making sure that Toma is straight because I mean, that's already there. I did tell him though, like, don't worry about what's in the bank, baby, because I don't plan to leave a whole lot. But as far as, that type of, insurance and all that, he's okay. Sorry about that minor delay. Um, but success to me is just being able to get up and go where I want to go, when I want to go, how I want to go. And
Mhm.
um today when I went to get my hair done, the girl does my hair. She's like a serial entrepreneur as well. And we were just talking different things. And she's like, how did you get motivated to go back to your podcast? Like, and I said, you want to honestly know? And she goes, of course. I said, I took a trip. And she said, what? And I said, yeah. I said, we went to Europe for 10 days. Um, I said, but it wasn't just the going, it was the how we went and just the different things of doing. And when I was there, honestly, which I did talk about it on my podcast, is just being 100% honest. That was the spark. Just saying, I want to, like, this is what I want to be able to do. I want to decide this is where I'm going. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to get there. I don't want to have to skimp on accommodations, flights, whatever. I want to be able to get up and go. And when I can
Mm.
myself to where I can just get up and go with no restrictions, that because I mean I didn't I can I've bought a little bit of all the things. You know what I mean? And when it's all said and done, when you leave, you can't take it with you,
That's right.
you know. So
Yeah.
I'm not into things anymore. I'm into the moments and the memories that
And the people, huh?
people that make life worth living. That's what success is to me.
Yeah, yeah. I think before I would have said money,
Mhm.
like when I was younger, but I feel like even once you get the money aspect of it, it's like, there still has to be all the other things to kind of fill it out. The money is not enough. It
No,
doesn't do it. Yeah.
yeah, it's good to have, and it's good to, it's good to look at,
Helps you with it's a tool, right? It's a
you know what I
tool
mean?
to,
But
yeah,
yes, it's money is just the means to the end. That's the way I look at it, you
that's
know.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
love that.
before we sign off, oh, you forgot the one thing, the one quote.
What's the question?
I don't know what was the question. I just remember the quote and I wrote it down about being patient.
Oh, I can remember because yeah, I said I don't yeah, actually I can't remember.
I've
Click. Um,
only been doing this for a week now.
I know. Okay. I don't remember what prompted it, is what I'm saying. But I remember that I was saying, like, be patient and trust the seeds that you planted, because I think that's very much the era that I'm in my life right now, is as I'm trying to expand on my career and take more steps. Trust the seeds that you planted and be happy now. That was the other thing, is learn to be happy now. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait until you get the job or the man or make more money or the car, whatever else. Learn to be happy now in the small moments. And I feel like all the other things will start to come when you're happy now.
I agree with that. I
Yeah.
love that and I agree with that. Well, I hate to wrap this up. This has been fun.
Let the hang up, girl.
Thank you again for appearing on this episode of Sip Something Sunday.
Hmm.
Um, just water. That's all we're sipping today is water. I didn't sip anything.
I add a little electrolyte to my water. Get
Okay,
a little razzle dazzle in there.
a little razzle dazzle.
Uh-huh.
Today is also the 29th anniversary of Biggie's passing. I'm pretty sure it's 29 years this year.
Oh, rest in peace, Big.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you. You have a great night. I love you.
I love you too. The last thing I want to say is, if you guys are interested in hearing intentional conversations, if you're interested in a little bit of humor in the podcast or anything like that, come and tune into our podcast. It's called Her Intentionally. It is not available yet, but it will be soon
And
on
where can
anywhere you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple, any of the places our podcast will be set up there. But yes, come and check us out. And you
and
can also
where
find us on YouTube.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
You'll be able to find us on YouTube. Our podcast will be there as well.
Good. And where can we find you?
You can find me at Kasha Lassien on Instagram. That's KASHALASSIEN. And then on TikTok, if I go back there, it's Kasha Lassien MUA.
Good, good.
Yeah. But that's it. Thank you for having me.
More than a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And this has been another episode of Sip Something Sunday. I hope you guys enjoy.